Greetings, Patrick here for Merry Schlockmas. Uh, Merry Schlockmas is a 2023 horror comedy uh, that came out. This series is part a ongoing Schlockmas Christmas. Merry Schlockmas. It's a collaboration I'm doing with Hey Internet. It's Eric, and we are looking at five of the most schlockiest Christmas movies that we could find for each other to watch. But I think our goal has gotten lost. The goal in this is to make the other person yell "Uncle." Like, okay, I tried watching your movie, but I couldn't make it through it. That's a win. Um, so far, I have not done that well. Well, neither has Eric though, because Eric has actually sent me two movies. One was mediocre, but it did have Patrick Morgan in it, so that saved it. And then the second movie he sent me, Once Upon a Time in Christmas, before Once Upon a Time, well, before Christmas. Well, it's in the playlist. That actually turned out to be a pretty badass movie, and I really liked it. Now, me on the other hand, I sent him Dustin Ferguson, a full length Dustin Ferguson movie that he survived. He also survived our Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas. I'm pushing. I have a feeling before the end of this week's over, I am going to get that. You son of a bitch. This really sucked. I was, we're trying to make each other whimper for mercy. So this week though, but he, like I said, I think he sent me too good of a crop of movies. It's either that or my window of liking movies has grown. A lot of folks who watch movies, they have that narrow window. Like if it doesn't fall in that narrow window, it all sucks. I guess my window is like this. I liked the second movie he sent me. I liked that quite a bit. He also sent me the sequel to it, which I'm going to save for week number 5, because I thought the first one was badass, and I want to go out on a high note. So this week, though, he gave me Santastein. This is the movie that I'm going to watch and talk about today, Santastein. And yes, it is what it sounds like. A young man named Max, him and his sister, um, they're waiting for Santa Claus to come. Um, Max is 9 years old, and his little sister is like 4 or 5, and they're waiting for Santa, and they realize that they hear Santa coming, but they realize they don't have cookies and milk on the table. So the little girl runs out to get that, and then Max decides to set up camp behind a chair to watch Santa come down, because he's going to take a picture of Santa. Well, things don't go as planned, and Santa Claus unfortunately buys the bucket, and there's no Tim Allen to come behind him to save to put on the Santa suit. So he kills Santa, and it affects the world. Every Christmas comes by, and you can hear the news people saying how Santa Christmas has not been the same since for 12 years since Santa has passed. Um, and so Max, he devotes his next years after that to try to save Santa. He saves the Santa's brain from that terrible night, and he spends the next 12 years, from 6 to 12, trying to bring back Santa. Well, he's also working with his best friend Paige in the experiments. But Paige doesn't know what he has in plan, what he has in mind. He only thinks that he's intending to, reanimate creatures for science. And she doesn't realize that her friend is crazier than batshit. Because face it, Max is crazier than batshit, as you go in. Um, so the experiment at the high school actually works, and Paige and Max, they're super stoked about that. Of course, they run into the usual buffoons and bullies. Paige's best friend Michaela is going to throw a big giant Christmas party at her big house, but the local high school diva comes over and takes over the list, so to speak, and tells her how to invite only the popular kids and make sure they have booze and basically the high school, normal high school stuff. Uh, so, well, anyway, Max does end up bringing back Santa Claus back to life. He has been stealing bodies for his experiments, and they've been looking for him for years. And it looks like they just got him, when he slips out of reach. So Max, after his experiments succeeded at high school, now he knows what he needs to do. And sure enough, he brings back Santa back to life. But unfortunately, it's been 15 years of Santa's brain. The rest of the body has been like fresh. So, and I guess I can't really blame Santa for going crazy, because wouldn't you go crazy too if somebody killed you and put you in a little jar for 15 years? Uh, so the Santa that, and so Paige comes over and sees what he has done, and she's like, "Oh, what the hell?" Um, and so while this is happening, while Max is showing Paige that look at back Santa Claus back to life, things will be all normal. Santa escapes, and Santa's brain has not adjusted too well for 15 years of captivity, or I guess we'll say 12 years of captivity, and so he takes over the body that he's been given, and he goes crazy, and he starts slaughtering people, and he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just like Frankenstein, he's doesn't know what he's doing. He has no comprehension of it. He knows that he's been brought back. Probably preferred not to have come back. And so he starts going around town killing various teenagers and kids and whoever he can get his hands on. He pretty much wipes out the police force of the three officers and the chief. And a security guard from the hospital who's been bedeviled by a mysterious man stealing the cadavers. Well, he gets named to be a cop, but he's not a cop. But he isn't. He finally catches Max and realizes it's been Max been tormenting him all these years by stealing the dead bodies. So now they have to go around town and try to save as many people as they can and try to stop Santa Claus. And it's a horror comedy. Definitely a horror comedy. They had a lot of fun with this movie in a lot of respects. It seems to get a little heavier toward the second half of the movie, but actually it's a little heavier than the whole damn movie, if you really ask me. Yes, it's a horror comedy, and yes, there's some people unfortunately get killed that shouldn't get killed. Definitely the Santa Claus, he's not the bad guy. He really isn't. It's just like Frankenstein from 1931. He is his creation of his master. And the real evil person in this movie is Max. It really is. He's the one that brought all this upon him, whether, through guilt or whatnot, but he's the one that has brought everything to the head. You do feel sorry for Santa. Yes, he's going out there, he's wiping out people, and they're trying to make him evil too. By him judging people, like saying good or evil or good or bad, naughty or not, or naughty or nice. But quite actually, it just doesn't work for this movie because we already know who the monster really is. He's the instrument of the monster, but the monster is the creator. As far as those movies go, it's okay. It was better than I expected. There are some problems with the movie though, with Santastein, and that number one being lighting. Holy shit, was this movie shot horribly? Not good at all. It is dark and muted throughout. I mean, you really have to strain to see what you're seeing. It's no lighting at all. Everything pretty much takes place at night, which I really couldn't understand that, because it's like, man, it would be cool to have some lighting in this damn movie, but the lighting is not existent. It's almost like, well, if we turn on the electricity a little bit too much, we won't have enough power to reanimate Santa. The acting is what you expect from it. It's wooden. It's not that good. I didn't like the acting that much myself. Some of the kills were, were okay. They're implied more than they were executed. Of course, there is one scene which I thought was pretty funny. It does hark back to a holiday classic. When you see it, you'll know it right away. You go like, "Oh, it's a very famous Christmas story that we all have heard about um, every year." And that part was actually pretty funny. I laughed at that one. Um, yeah, I just felt really bad. I felt really titty tooth. I felt really bad about the fact that all these people were dying, and we're not blaming Santa Claus. Our eyes are on supposedly on the wrong person. And when it does look like Max has been stopped, and Paige knows it, that it's Max's fault, and that was refreshing. That was probably the one singularly best part about this movie is that the smart girl is just smart as Max. Paige is also very smart and realizes that Max is actually the one who has caused all this damage. It's all his fault. Um, and she tells him too. She says, "This is your fault. You're the one that's crazy. It isn't necessarily the Santa Claus's fault because he's dead. He's dead. There's no. He's just maneuvering on instinct." They try to juice Santa up a little bit by making him stronger as the colder it gets, but honestly, the story has already been told beforehand. Adding that on late in the game did not do anything to elevate this movie at all. Um, and the other thing too, like I said, is the acting was okay. A lot of it was just they weren't very good. Maybe this is the first movie for a lot of the cast, so they're cutting their teeth per se. But the directors aren't that much further behind. The two directors that did this movie, Nelson. Let me go back up. Manuel Chameleon and Benjamin Edelman, they have between 2 to 4 movies credits underneath their belt. They're not that experienced yet, and you could definitely see that in the film. Um, like I said, with the really poor lighting and the dialogue and all that. I mean, some of the effects were cool. They did do their best with what they had, but they just need more experience, and they need a better cinematographer, a lighting person, because this movie sucks when it comes down to lighting. Um, all right, well, that is it for Santastein. Um, could have been better. Maybe there's a sequel coming down the line for this. This is not that old, 2023. Maybe there's a sequel coming down to this. I mean, but if they do, they have to make the Max. They really have to establish him as Frankenstein's. It's Max's monster. It's not Santa Claus's fault necessarily. It definitely is Max's fault. And as long as they establish that in the second movie a little bit better, it will work. Otherwise, it's just another forgettable Christmas movie. There's supposed to be like over 120 horror Christmas movies out now, and honestly, I don't see myself watching this one ever again. Ever. Like an ever and never. If I wanted to see a dead Santa Claus, I'll go watch Tim Allen, the Santa Claus. But otherwise, this isn't one of those movies where I'm going to be ranting and raving about it. It is what it is. It's probably on the same level as Nutcracker Massacre, which I reviewed. That was the first movie that Eric made me watch. So I think for the next week, we're going to be watching Mercy Christmas. We're going to watch Mercy Christmas next week, and hopefully that will be the movie that will have me turn it off, saying, "Oh hell no, I ain't watching this anymore." But so far, me and the Cheetah, we have made it through our Schlockmas month. We will do our best to make Eric scream for mercy on his last movies, which I think I have great hope for. I'm impressed. I am damned impressed that he made it through Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas without without blowing my ass up. But I still got one ace up my sleeve. I actually have 2 aces up my sleeve. And we'll see if either one of them goes past the 20-minute mark. When he does his reviews, things are on fire. As the longer the review is for Eric, the more he is just getting into it, laying it open. So we will hope for a 25 minute review for him for tonight's movie, and the rest of it for the rest of the month. For me, I'm at 15 myself. So there you go. But I'm like I said, I'm not gonna blister this. This is just completely unforgettable. And yeah. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, consider hitting the like button. Drop a comment down below for Sharkenstein. I'll put the link down for all of our movies that we've done for the month for Schlockmas 2024. Yeah. If you are interested in being a part of our next Schlockmas extravaganza, let me know. Drop a comment down to me via my Instagram or comment section saying, hey, you want part of the action. And next time we do it, we'll consider you. We'll bring you in there. And maybe you'll even go head to head up with me and Eric. I promise you, you will be crying at the end of the week if you make it. Otherwise, yeah, hopefully enjoy what you're watching, and this was a lot of fun. And so Merry Schlockmas, everybody. Peace.